Do real estate agents get paid too much? This is probably something that maybe you've heard with the commission lawsuits and all the stuff that's going on. This isn't just another commission lawsuit, fear tactic, anything video. This is something that I want to bring to you as I look at my own business and make sure that I am providing the same value in accordance to what I get paid to represent my clients. So today we're going to dive into a day in the life of a real estate agent. And I've had a couple hectic days in a row, so it's going to be a lot, but we're going to dive in and you're going to really understand what it looks like to be a real estate agent that serves you, the client, every single day. Let's go. What's up, guys? Jeremy Kane, living in the Denver suburbs. Excited for this one, as it's really an opportunity, as you know, the market changes and there's all these changes to our industry in general that could be coming, might not be that big of a change, maybe major change, a lot of uncertainty. So I'm excited for this one. If you like what you hear, usually we talk more, Denver specific real estate market updates and all the things. Subscribe, throw me a like, give me a comment. If you want to start an argument, we can. I like that too. So look forward to connecting with you either which way. So let's get into it. A day in the life of a real estate agent. First and foremost, I start my day with a morning routine. Try and wake up around 5 o'clock. The snooze bar has been getting a little bit of a workout lately, but essentially I'm up between 5 and 5:30. I head downstairs. I do a little personal development, read that book. This kind of dates back to my 75 hard days. After that, I get outside, I get a workout in, usually 45 minutes or so, either lifting weights at the rack in my garage. I wear a coat or a sweatshirt, at least in the winter. And then we get to work. Maybe some cardio on the Peloton, some abs, get back in to the house, usually around 7. Usually then at least a portion of my trio of daughters is awake and my wife, and we kind of share the duties and preparing the breakfast and the coffee and all the things, and then we sit down, have a meal together. We talk about our gratitudes, really building that into this as well. I'm so grateful for all of my clients and everything that this wonderful industry has provided me. Truly found something I'm good at. So we do that. We talk about our gratitudes, get those girls being grateful for something, even on the roughest days, and we move forward. I head upstairs, I take a shower. So unfortunately the breakfast table, the kiddos are definitely do a sweat test before they give me hugs. Good morning, but here we are, right? It is what it is. So get upstairs, take a shower. We're ready to hit the ground running around 8 o'clock, get down to my office. And that's really when the work begins. All right, so first and foremost, you have to kind of catch up, right? The thing I love about real estate and serving my clients is that every single day is different. For instance, today I had a few communications in that personal time. I was talking to an agent friend of mine who's going to make a move. Not my organization or anything, but whatever, that came up. I was going back and forth with her a little bit. I had a client that I showed a house to yesterday, and actually it was my own listing, reach out to me and say, hey, we're going to wait. I got to see a couple things if they work out. So go ahead and take that other offer if that's what the seller wants to do. And I had my buyer who just went under contract asking me about earnest money, because she went under contract yesterday after close of business, and now her earnest money is due today. So I was making sure that those interactions, that people got the information they needed. I then came down here. I communicated with my seller that the one buyer was, maybe taking a hiatus, not gonna offer. And I, started talking to the other agent on the other side as we kind of stepped into this. So yeah, as we kind of move forward with the day, we're making sure everybody's taken care of. We're making sure that all the things happen. For instance, today I had that conversation with the other agent who I'm actually still negotiating at time of this recording with, and we're just continuing working through this. I've had probably 15 to 20 conversations about just this one offer today already. And so as we continue to move forward the day, I had a call with my group. Another member in my organization was talking about personal branding. Great job. This is what the industry is talking about right now. What are we doing? How are we showing up? How are we representing ourselves to our clients? And ultimately, it comes down to the value that you bring. And I would probably say that my best value is the creativity I have in negotiations. Just yesterday, I had a client who had put an offer in. We had to get creative because she's a VA borrower, and we were just moving some numbers around, doing different things. Instead of a post-closing occupancy cost for rent back, we put it into a concession, and we're moving stuff around. We're talking to the lender. We're making sure that she's fully in on the payment that they are, giving on the loan estimate and all the things. And so then we're explaining it, and then one little thing changes. And then as an agent, I have to say, okay, this is what this means. Certainly these numbers, I'm not the lender, but if we take this, situation or scenario that you're offered, we get a $3,000 concession instead of a $1,500 concession. We're just going to add $1,500 to this bottom line. Certainly it's not dialed in. So you have to be able to have those conversations on the fly and be creative, because we beat out multiple offers. My offer, was a little bit low, but because of my creativity and the reasoning, in the conversation I had with the agent, she said, well, if you just tweak this and this, in a counter proposal, my client likes the way your offer is written and wants to work with you. So the creativity piece, the communication piece, and our ability to kind of go back and forth, me to help my client understand what the moving parts are so that she's educated in that decision, and then get her under contract. So she's under contract. That's great. So then we're on to that meeting that we talked about. Right after that, I did a YouTube collab with my business partner, Mike Sherrard. He's a big deal on YouTube if you want to check him out. And so that'll be coming out for agents, for talking about how you can change your business from being a buyer's agent to a listing agent, how you can serve your sphere and all of those things. And so we did that. That's kind of on the agent attraction side and how I build my business serving agents. I also lead and help 92 other agents at the time of this recording build business in different markets across the country. So that's one side of my business. And then we have the agent or the, production side, where we're helping clients build wealth through real estate. So once we did that, I had another conversation with my client as the seller, said, this is kind of what's going on. This is what they're offering. This is what's being, communicated. He's like, okay, great. We kind of made a plan moving forward. That was great. Communicated that with the other agent who had the active offer. And then we had lunch, right? I went to lunch with one of my 92 agents that's, having a baby, and she was talking about what she's doing in her business to prepare for that, and different ideas and, different trajectories of her business. So we did that. That was awesome. Gave her butter braids that she brought from my daughters and gymnastics. And then we were back at it, right? I came home, touch base. We actually got another offer on that listing. So I had to go through that, make sure I communicated that with my client. And then I was actually recording a course for agents. So we're talking about my process as we go. It's kind of intertwined, right? You see production to agent attraction and back and forth, because all of this allows me to help more people build wealth through real estate. If I'm helping my agents build their networks and their business in a way that I did, client-centric, value-driven, then more people are affected by what I'm putting out there, right? And I want to have impact, right? That's my word of the year, is impact. So then I went, start recording the course. Technology messed up. I had to reach out to my super smart and smarter than me. I said, I clicked some buttons, and he said, why'd you do that? And then he figured it out. So we got that up and running. And then I recorded this video, which is a piece of content that's talking to my sphere, to my clients, to help them understand, because they're hearing all this stuff about how real estate agents aren't going to get paid as much, and all this thing, all these headlines that are in the news that mostly are misleading. If you have questions about that, check my video from last week. But that's why we're talking about this. And then, we moved on. I recorded probably 3 or 4 videos for my course that's coming out. And then we transitioned over to, a live video and this piece of content that you're watching right now. After this, I need to get one more call into the lender and hopefully hear back from my seller that he wants to actually take that offer that we've been working on for pretty much, I don't know, at this point, 12 hours. So we're working through that as we go. That was an office day, lots of clerical, right? I've probably received 25 emails from the house that went under contract, from, title people to lenders to transaction coordinators on both sides to getting a form from the lender and having to send that to my transaction coordinator to add signatures to, review that, make sure it was good to go before it went to my client, and go from there, explain that form to my client. So that's kind of the day-to-day and the paperwork and that stuff. Just yesterday, like I said, I was out meeting a group of, realtors who are putting together a mastermind and affect the community in a positive way. And I had to head up to Fort Collins to show a house. So an hour away from my house, it was my listing. I was working, with that buyer that actually this morning said he was gonna wait. Perfect. So I was going up there and negotiating this deal with, my buyer, my VA buyer. And so sometimes it's that. And then, tomorrow we're gonna have an inspection and we're gonna have, I think, an appraisal. And so we're always working through, and communication is the name of the game. I work hard to educate, but I also work hard to be at these things so that I'm part of the process, right? If I'm not at an inspection and I'm just going off an inspection report, who knows, right? My buyer could say, well, this is what he said, and I want all this taken care of. And I'm like, well, how about we do this and this and this? If I'm there at that point, I can properly negotiate, put together something that the seller is going to possibly accept and take care of the major things while getting my client into the home, that they're looking at. So being out in the field is a whole nother thing, showing homes. Sometimes they're virtual, sometimes not. Tomorrow I'm going to meet a stager at a listing that I have. I have to reach out to one of my other future listings coming up and say, hey, we got a title commitment TBD, talk through that. I'll probably have to go get a survey and deliver that to the title company, just so that we can eliminate headaches down the road. And I think that's probably at the root of what I do, is eliminate headaches along the way, right? I want to make sure that every little piece of a transaction is handled so that if you're buying a home, we don't have to deal with the seller and go back and sue and do all of those things because I was being lazy and missed something that I probably should have caught at that point when we had the seller on the hook and we could have negotiated something, right? Or, before it wasn't disclosed or whatever. So that's the biggest thing, but also the headaches of, okay, we're under contract to sell this beautiful property and there's a survey question. Like, we don't really know what the boundaries of the property are. Well, before we list it, let's get it ready. While they're doing the sale at the house and clearing everything out and getting it ready for me to bring the stager in, I'm doing legwork to help make sure that the process is as smooth as possible so we can list it, get it under contract, get it to a new buyer, and get the seller what they're looking for. And so that's the biggest thing, is preparation, communication, and just foreseeing future issues that may come up that'll make it harder to get everyone to their goal. Sellers want to sell, buyers want to buy, right? So that's what I do. My goal is to help everyone build wealth through real estate. Certainly, I decided to do this video because the day in the life was so chaotic recently. And so it was a great time to just say exactly what I did. I hope the rant wasn't too much. And if if you're watching this and you're one of my past clients and I missed something that I did on your deal, please put it in the comments. I love to hear from you guys. I love to communicate, and just working to build an exact replica or a rendition, so to speak, of what I do for people every single day, because it's not always, just opening doors and, sitting back and writing contracts on my software where there's a template. And, that was the COVID days, right? During COVID, literally when I couldn't leave my house, I was writing contracts, figuring out as much as I could from my desk. Clients had to put offers in ahead of time. That was pretty easy stuff. However, there was a lot more to it than just that, but it's different now. And so I just want you guys to know that my job is to eliminate headaches for you, and my creativity is probably my number one asset in negotiations to help everybody get exactly what they want. So I hope that helps. Please like, comment, subscribe. If I missed something and I've done it for you, please put it in the comments. That would be awesome. And if you have any questions or you want to get to work on using some of that creativity to your advantage, let's have a conversation. Buyer consult, seller consult, there's a link in the bio. You can definitely check it out. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.